course back with part 2 of the Bleaksville 3 review. Now I'm struggling to find my hairband, so my hair is currently all over the place. So if you're here, I imagine you've seen part 1. I had to stop that halfway through because I felt shit. But we're better now, and we're going to come back into this and continue on with the next half of the mixtape. So we're basically left off, and the next clip included a scene from a British TV show, called Jimmy'll Fix It.
Now then, ladies and gentlemen, we hope it's been a very good week for you, and here's a very good set of fix-its for you. Here we go now with a letter from Bleak. Yeah, Bleak.
There must be something that you always want to do. The one thing that you always wanted to. Now you've done it. Jim has fixed it for you. And you...
Listen, look after yourself, please, for 7 days. See you next week for some more super Jim will fix it.
The clip ends and it quickly cuts to a man who's being hit in the leg with a machete. And one of his feet is literally hanging by the thread of his skin. And then we get a clip of Jimmy Savile and Rolf Harris, who were both very, very bad people, both paedophiles, if you don't know who they were, or are, rather.
Any bit of tubing, you play tunes on it. Can you give us an example? This is your instrument, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got to get as much of your mouth inside the mouthpiece as you can, and then to put your tongue out, imagine you had a bit of crumb on your tongue, you wanted to get rid of it, and just go like that. You know,
It's nasty.
hardly any pressure. Try it. The longer you can keep that going. Can you do this? Imagine say you're in the wild west of America chewing tobacco and you want to just spit it out into the spittoon. You go like that. That's it. Now do about 4 of those. That's it. Now try breathing in through your nose while you do that, like this. Bubbles coming out of there. Now my lungs are absolutely full. Imagine it's a mouthful of hot soup. You can go with a mouthful of soup there. So, and then squirt it out while you fill your lungs.
And here we go now with a letter from Walsall in Staffordshire.
Next up, we've got a clip of a kid who has his head put into a VR headset. It switches over to a very horrible video of a puppy getting its head smashed open on a log. And I believe that this clip is from a little something called One Bitch, 9 Pups, which is an absolutely horrific video. I don't think I'm ever going to cover it, and if I do, it's going to be something that's going to be very brief. So this clip's made to pretend that this kid has seen this clip on the VR headset that he's wearing, in which he basically tears the headset off in shock. Next up, we've got a video of some Muslim men dancing in a mosque. The music over the top of it was pretty catchy, made me laugh quite a bit. And then it cuts to 6 prisoners. These prisoners are dressed in orange jumpsuits and proceed to get shot in the back of the head by what I can only presume is members of ISIS. There's some very strange effects going on over these people dancing, like mirrors effects and weird swirls and twirls going on, very strange distortions. There's also a clip in which a prisoner's head is cut off with a giant sword. It looks a bit like a katana, actually. And let me just say that these clips aren't in like 144p. These are proper 4K movie-like clips, and if you're familiar with these types of videos, then you've probably seen clips before from these members of this certain group in which the clips are very, very high quality. And it's rumoured, or possibly even true, that these clips are recorded in such good quality because apparently they steal journalists' cameras and equipment and whatnot. But like I say, that could be rumours and it could be completely untrue and total bullshit. So this clip with the katana beheading. On this clip, the camera starts spinning around, and around this person you can see a bunch of lifeless bodies with their heads on top of the bodies. And after this you also get another lineup shooting. You've got a couple of your average beheadings as well. The next clip is of a young kid who's probably only about 10 years old, and he's holding a pistol. There's a soldier stood behind this kid, and he actually helps the kid to aim his gun and fire at one of the prisoners in front of them and ends up shooting him in the head. Next up is a clip of a prisoner being put in a cage, and the words "one man, one cage" coming up soon on ISIS TV comes up on the screen. Next up you've got a clip of a man who I can only assume has launched himself off of a building. Now there's a pole on the ground in which this man completely impales himself on up through the anus and out of the top of his head. Next up you've got a clip of this man who looks a little bit like some kind of Discord moderator or Reddit moderator, and he's in some sort of playground, and he makes his way over to a kid who must only be about 11 years old, and he picks him up by the scruff of the neck and slams him onto the ground. Absolute chad. So this sign comes up on the next clip that says "Small cocks wanted." You've got an anime that comes up, which could in fact be hentai, or it was certainly leading that way. But over the top of that, a semi-transparent clip of a man inserting a screw into his pee-pee hole comes up. So this anime, hentai thing, whatever, on this thing, a toothbrush is put into this girl's mouth, and just about as some shit is about to go down, you get this video of a very, very deep cut with some very distorted rap music over the top of it. And now we get a large amount of genital mutilation as well as horrible self-harm cuts that people have done to themselves, including this giant gash on the side of a man's torso area, as well as a bunch of slit throats that people have done to themselves. Next, there's a bunch of pictures that show up, mostly satanic emblems. There's also some demon-looking women there as well. There's a few cuts, some weapons, just mostly odd little pictures that you've never seen before and probably will never see again. And the whole section is mainly just about self-harm. There's a lot of quotes such as "I'm not okay," and these quotes are mostly cut into people's skin. And I think there's a clip that somebody has made in which they've cut off their labia or clitoris or something, and I do apologise if either of those two things can't actually be cut off. I'm not too great at women's anatomy. And throughout this whole thing there's this weird dude in a really creepy pig mask that keeps popping up. Next up you've got a guy who cuts his whole penis helmet off with a knife. So that all ends, thank fuck, and we're met with a video of a bat in a life container. A bald man reaches into this container and pulls the bat out of there. He then proceeds to eat the bat. He went full Ozzy Osbourne and he ate the bat, and you can hear the bones crunching while he chews the bat up and swallows the whole thing. Oh boy. Next up you've got a bunch of cat crushing fetishes to a song that I can only presume is called Squish That Cat. It's a very catchy song, let me just say that, but the clips in general, crush fetishes, it's, yeah, not for me. I don't like those at all. Next up, we've got an announcement from the Bleaksville Broadcasting Company. It basically shows an interview with a guy named Pampachu who's doing some weird stuff in a bathtub while wearing a diaper. Now, I'm not sure how much of this I can show, but if I can show any of it and blur some stuff out, then I will.
Welcome to the Bleaksville Broadcasting Company. I am your host, Gorviched. Oh, I'm your friend, Pamperchu?
You are beautiful.
Oh, that's so sweet. Have you ever heard of Bleaksville Broadcasting Company?
Company of men.
Have you ever heard of Bleaksville Broadcasting Company?
No. Yeah, I used to.
Uh-huh.
I haven't done it in many years, but that was my drug of choice. Was
Yeah.
a little bit of meth and some oxys.
Yeah, we should smoke heroin together, huh? Your lag is so bad, but that's okay. Perfect.
I think. Oh, you can't record at the same time?
It's okay, buddy.
I did a recording message, but it doesn't allow you.
Yeah, because you're on a call with me, but that's
I'll do a
okay.
sample for you, though.
Sure, thank you. I'd appreciate that.
You are beautiful.
Oh, that's so sweet. Pamperchu?
Now, there are some sections of this interview which sound like they might be faked because of the roboticness of the voice of Pampachu. But faked or not, the clip is quite funny overall. And the video behind this interview basically shows Pampachu just messing about with a bunch of diapers in a toilet. And then you've got a clip of some disabled people shouting random vegetables out.
Broccoli.
Cauliflower. Pumpkin!
Olive.
Now, the next clip was actually kind of interesting. Now, it was just a dead body, or a body with blood all over it. However, the video resembled that of a similar floor and tiling, white tiles, similar to that of Funky Town Gore and the Cartel beheaded head football video, so I'm not sure if that's the same kitchen or not. Obviously I can't show it here, but it looked very, very familiar. Now, a lot of this section is mainly just dead bodies, and you basically got a guy who's being shocked with an electric wire as well. You've got a man or a woman who's having their genitals burnt with a lighter. A man is being hit with a thick, giant piece of wood up against a wall. There's a man tied to a wooden pole. There's a woman being hit with a giant plank of wood. There's a video of an African man who's swinging by his armpits on what looks like a spit roast, except there's no fire underneath it. It looks like he's just swinging by his armpits, and that's what's causing him pain. A man in front of a camera gets shot by the cameraman. There's a beheading by the CJNG, which is actually a cartel group, and that's something that I recognise from another YouTuber called Disturbed Reality. I recognise it from that, and you could tell by the logo on this guy's hat that he was a member of the cartel. There's a couple of grieving videos that shows up as well as a guy whose leg is basically chopped up and broken into 3 pieces. There's a woman who's grieving or consoling a man who may be her husband or her son who's covered in blood. And you'll just get a few more clips of people who have gone out in the worst way, either covered in blood or just dead somewhere, dying on the floor on the side of a road and whatnot. There's one specific clip there which stood out, in which there's somebody who's died, except the face is completely devoid of any muscle or facial structure whatsoever. It's basically just a skull. There's no blood, no muscle, no skin. It's like the entire face has been degloved, shall we say. There's also one body in which the skin is just completely grey, with the entirety of the face missing. There's a man who gets shot and a ton of bullets are just laid into him. There's also a particular video where a man is being carried away from this giant pool of bright red blood. There's a guy who's clearly gone mad who smacks his head against a window. It cuts to this man on the floor, and then it cuts to him with blood all over his forehead, walking towards the camera. Now, a lot of the next few clips are mainly just car and bike accidents, including a family who are dead on the floor, as well as people who have been knocked over and killed on the side of the road. There's a clip of a black guy holding somebody's head in their hands like it's a trophy. There's a guy who's pleading with somebody, and he looks like his whole entire body has been completely burnt. Somebody throws a rock at his head and he just goes down like a ton of bricks. Now there's a couple more body clips, including somebody who gets lit on fire while on the ground, and a body in which the head is completely squashed. There is one clip too in which there's a guy sat on the side of the road with his organs hanging out in the front of his body, and there's also a lot of close-ups of dead people's faces. There's also a clip that comes up which looks like it should be in some kind of cannibal tribe movie in which a guy is wrapped around a large stick. Like, you know, one of those kind of movies where they're carrying the protagonist tied up on a stick, his arms and legs, or her arms and legs are usually tied up on a stick, and they're carrying them to the next destination. It's basically like that, except this man's legs are round the back of his head. Yeah, it's like a fruit roll-up, but human. You've got a clip of somebody sewing up their nose, and it then cuts us back to the clip at the very start of this little compilation of the man who's being tortured by the electric wire, except the music sort of died down a little bit and his screams are a lot louder. Now, I just wish I could show the next compilation of things that come up, but YouTube or somebody is bound to get offended, so I'm not going to do that. You get a compilation, and hear me out, of femboy Nazi memes. Yeah, you know, two things you wouldn't usually put together to make a meme out of it: femboys and Nazis. But it's a thing, and there's loads of these memes. It's pretty cringy though, some of the memes, so it's probably best I don't show them. Alright, so moving on, we have what appears to be some kind of anime intro song over the top of a variety of mass shootings. And they're all videos of very grainy and blurry footage of mass shootings, either from a first person view or from a CCTV point of view. And the locations vary from churches, restaurants, schools, concerts, shopping malls. Columbine's also included in there. You've got Dylan Roof, who shot and killed 9 people during a prayer service. And Christchurch is also on there too. If you want more information about that, that'll be in the links in the description. Now, the thing about these clips is that after all these clips have been run through and shown, it actually shows the aftermath of these clips. And by the aftermath, I don't mean the dead bodies and whatnot. I mean what actually happened to some of these people in jail and in the courtrooms of these people who basically did these shootings. So it's a nice little bit of justice there to see. You know, it basically shows them taking their charges and whatnot. So next up, we've got a fight between 2 dwarves. They're both fighting, only play fighting, and then they start hitting each other with inflatable weapons. You've then got this clip of a woman with No Hands, who's singing about taking her own life. Now, if I'm not wrong, I've actually seen this a long time ago, and it freaked me out a little bit. And then I guess we hit the final few clips of this mixtape. There's a man in a yellow polo shirt who's basically standing on some train tracks, waiting for the train to hit him. And it sure does. And that, guys, is all I've really got to say about Bleaksville 3. Now, I don't feel like it's necessary to repeat myself on this variety of mixtapes, and as usual, the Bleaksville Broadcasting Company have yet again created something pretty interesting. And the thing about their particular mixtapes is that it's not just a compilation of clips, it's not just one clip after the other, such as MD Pope. It's more creative than that. So yeah, like I say, there's not much else to say about them as a company because they already know my views from the last two that I did, and again, they've not failed to deliver, so there's that. And what you'll probably see in a couple of days or so is just a compilation of Bleaksville 1, 2 and 3. Now I'm going to put them all into one video and, you know, just release that as one big video because I think it really deserves its own compilation, and I have quite enjoyed covering these 3 mixtapes. And yeah, that's that. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and if you'd like to, maybe like, subscribe, and maybe click that little bell next to the subscribe button. You get my latest updates. Pretty cool. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay safe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.